Hey, everybody. Welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast, and it's podcast number 10.
10.
I got screwed up somewhere between 8 and 9.
It doesn't even seem like it's 10.
I think I'm losing my memory.
Is it 10? Emmanuel, is it 10?
It's 10, but it was the 8 and the 9. I was posting 8, should have been 9. But hey, we're on to 10. And we're here. We're here with a guy.
He was telling us it was Cinco instead of...
Yeah, we got confused around 5 and 6 too. Now that you bring that up. Oh well, we are definitely losing our minds. I think it's this heat.
It must be.
So we're going to heat it up a little bit more. We're here with Papa Smurf Shawn Reed Sr., joining us from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, out of the Hotspot shop.
Lancaster, California.
See?
Huh? This must be the weather.
That one I had written down. We're really hot out there today, huh? I was actually going to call you to make sure you were all right with the fires.
It's about 103 out there. No fire hazards our way yet.
Good. Yes. So. No, I was just a little bit concerned, especially with the fact that I'm going to apologize again for all the times that we bounced around your scheduled interview. This was
no worries.
I'm taking off. You and I were talking about the Motor City guys, and I'm going to Detroit tomorrow.
All right.
So I had to move some things around.
Okay, no worries. Man, it's my honor and a pleasure to be here with you guys, man. And
you see my boys out there. Tell them I said hi.
Yeah.
Kean Wells and Myron.
I think I'll see them. And you deal with some of those Detroit guys too when you're out there?
Man, just a few. Cotton and Pete and Sugar Bear, a couple of my friends on Facebook.
Okay, so are they customers too, or they're just friends more through Facebook?
Just friends through Facebook. And Kenny Simon in Long Island, New York, he just recently purchased a bike for me. I shipped it out last week.
What did you ship, Kenny?
I shipped him out a Pro Street GTS frame with a built Predator.
Great.
Yeah.
So how did Kenny find you?
Facebook and Instagram is my main outlet for
there you go
for business. Free advertisement.
Yeah. Plus, you're doing some good stuff because you're there, you're active, and you're always building a bike or fixing a bike. So there's a lot of photos up there. Ed and I saw a lot of bikes this weekend. We jumped out to the LA drags yesterday. Good to see you again, Ed. God, I keep seeing you on a daily basis. I kind of get, I'm not going to get used to that. I don't know what I was thinking. But it was fun. It's good to see you again.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
A lot of guys that we talked to about doing the podcast tonight were friends of yours. We ran up with MDB.
All right.
We saw a few other guys out there. D was out there.
Charles Mosley.
Brian from F&B Solo.
Yeah, I've known Brian for about at least 15, almost 20 years. I remember when he was a young guy, he used to come in my shop in Long Beach and pick up parts and just kind of shoot the shit a little bit. Man, it's good to see those guys. I carry Brian's pipes, which is one of the hottest exhaust pipes on the market right now. So
we're lucky enough to have those guys on the show recently.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Brian and Frank, man. Man, you killing me.
How about the video? If you hadn't had the chance yet to check, I think both of the videos combined maybe got to 1,000 people in the 2 days that we posted them. It was us just continuing to follow the saga of Solo and Charles.
Yeah.
And we got a video of them together. What was Charles? Charles does have some good shit. It's almost as like he's got a writer. And Brian's good. Brian can come back, and Brian's funny, but when Charles told him the only way you go 80 is if you fell out of a plane.
I think Brian was a little mellow on Sunday.
Brian was on his best behavior.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel bad, and Brian, I'm going to tell you this right now. I said, Brian, I said, here's the deal, babe. I said, some of these guys just think you take it just a little bit too serious. He goes, and I didn't see him physically. I although I felt like I did. It was over, I think, Facebook or, was it that or maybe, it was a text. And I said, dude, you seem like a really cool guy. You are. I can kind of tell. I say, some guys just think you take this stuff a little bit too serious. And, people do those little ... before they're gonna answer your text.
Yeah, he's really cool, but I think it's some of the aggravation stocked on top of aggravation, on
Builds
top
up,
of aggravation,
builds up.
and then it kind of volcanoes out.
He's funny though.
Yeah, man.
So if you haven't seen the video, go check out the video. It's on Joe's Minibike Reunion Facebook. It's more of those two guys, and we're going to see more of them October the 1st, Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. And I turned into a shameless shill right about now, Ed, because we're only like about a month and a handful of weeks away from the event.
Right.
I went down. I went down Monday. You know, you got to have that list to talk about. Got to have your shit. What are you going to do that day? You got to start marking it off. Got to write it the day before. So I had to go get my stuff together. And by my stuff, I mean all my trinkets and trash and all my buttons and bullshit. The hats, the T-shirts.
Refrigerator magnets.
I haven't stooped that low. I got more of these tins.
You haven't stooped that low?
No, you know what I got this year? See those banners? Those CRC banners?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I got one that's like 2 foot by 3 foot. Just banners with the logo.
All right.
You know,
I must have really stooped when you first,
Oh, there you go.
when
You
first
representing?
came on, yeah.
Well, shit, enough about all that stuff. But I will tell you guys, look, if you are planning on coming to the show this year, we've got a lot of good things happening. We mentioned F&B. They're going to give us away a roller.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and they're gracious. You know, he left 12 pipes falling out of his pocket when he was here for all the different projects and the giveaways that I already have. We had a great show with Iski, who you do some business with, right, Shawn?
I do a lot of business with Tim. That's a good friend of mine. Use a lot of his cams and different parts on the bikes that I build, man. He takes real good care of me.
He's listening now. Say hi to him.
What's happening, Tim?
Tim, I'm going to milk this, although I do take responsibility for it. Poor Emmanuel, you know how it is. It's like 105 out here in the shade.
Yeah.
He's been working another job and another job. In fact, it's, congratulations on your promotion with your other gig. I won't bring it up because I know the IRS is all over you. But it's another $1 million gig that he got on the side. Congratulations, E, on that. But everybody's working hard to get stuff done. And he was going to send me some pictures that we use to upload for the podcast.
All right.
Because it kind of helps, you know. And he's got some great photos. Like I wanted the photos of his dad's shop with all the stuff piled up and the Cadillac full with junk, right?
Man.
Yeah.
And I got them. It just took me
Oh,
a
you
little
did?
longer.
You
I
got
did.
'em?
I did. And he actually sent them to me on Friday, but I wasn't able to get to them. And I got to them last night. I dropped them off to D1, and we'll have that turned out quick. And before you know it, we'll have your show on. Hey, Shawn, let's just get to it. It's not as if you've known Ed for a long, long time personally, and we've never met before.
Hey, man, I've been a big fan of Ed for a long time. Man.
Everybody is.
Really?
On his waiting list, I got a Tecumseh for a cat eliminator that I want him to rebuild for me, man. But he told me I had to get in line. So
Well, I'll tell you what. He's right there. He's right next to him. Give him your best edited pitch. What kind of engine is it? It's a
Actually,
Tecumseh.
it's looking pretty good right now.
Good.
All right, well, hey, man, I guess I gotta unbolt it and get it to you so I can get it done.
Yeah. I'm pretty much caught up.
I showed him the 4.5 with the polished.
Kickstarter.
With the kickstart.
Yeah, man, that's a beautiful engine, man. You do some great work. With
Oh,
it.
thank you.
Yep. So Ed, I might as well just jump on. I mentioned to you at the drags that I had sold the DT 125
Yeah.
to a cool guy my age, Scott. Nice guy. What's happening, Scott, if you're listening? I love Scott. He showed up. You know, sometimes people want to come and see it, and if they can't see it like that second, they're like automatically get mad at you. You don't even know them. So hey, look, we tried one day, it didn't work. Got to the next day, cool, easy breeze, right? In fact, he called a little while ago. He's still very mellow. He came over, and I had a one-owner, low-mile, Virgin Enduro that he bought, and he looked at mini bikes, and he got the fever like everybody else does, and he wants a taco. And he wanted an older one, so I mentioned him to you, and he just texted me. So I'll hook you up with him. It's Scott out of the 626 area code. He wants a taco, but not until you hook up Shawn Reed, who's here.
Right. Yeah.
exactly.
So Shawn,
Shawn's been in line for a long time.
Yeah, for
I
a
just
long
now
time.
finished a Bonanza last weekend,
All
and
right.
it finally left. The guy loved it, picked it up. So he said he had the Hodaka motor for it at home, ready to go in.
yeah, that's the perfect combo, I think.
So, yeah, it was a BC 1500.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
trying to
those I
remember
think you could get away with a 5, but then if you have that Hodaka 100,
Yeah, exactly.
I still, you said you were looking for a chopper. I got lucky with both of mine.
Yeah, exactly. man.
But here's why I think you're on the hot seat, so to speak, and we mean that literally because it's hot out there, and also the hot spot. Got the whole hot thing working. It's you're an older man, and what I mean is like we're not in our 20s and 30s anymore, right?
Man, I got a few gray hairs in my
Yeah,
beard.
yeah,
You know?
and you've got a large, beautiful family. I see from the photos.
Yeah, I've been married for almost 25 years to the same woman. 3 boys, 1 girl, and man, I'm just happy to live and happy to have them. You know, they keep me going, and man, everything that I do is for them.
Well, they let you get crazy with these mini bikes and cars because I can't help but see that you're always building bikes, selling bikes, fixing bikes, and then more recently, I'm seeing you launch out a fleet of Palas,
Yeah,
coupes, and convertibles, Ed, with doors stacked up and
I
hoods.
saw that.
It looked at a glance, just at a quick glance, man, it was close to a few $100,000 worth of cars and probably and some. It's like, so good for you that you were smart enough to get into all that stuff. But
yeah, close to maybe
Yeah.
300,000, maybe 20 or.
so what's the deal
25
on all
Chevys.
that? Before we get to the mini bikes, I can't help but find out what's up with the cars and the collection. And,
Well,
and
I'm a welder fabricator, and I do a lot of vintage Chevy restoration, a lot of rust repair and things of that nature, a lot of body mods. I'm right now turning 4-door Impalas into 2-door convertibles, which is really hot right now because all the 2-door stuff is disappearing fast and no one's selling. So
they were working with. We talked about that. It's funny how this shit all has a common thread. We were talking about those, and they call them like I go to a little place in the valley once in a while to pick up a little something, and as I go by there, man, there's this little '64 Nova,
all right.
and it's not the 2-door coupe SS everybody wants. It's that 4-door.
Yeah.
But you know what? Those are the only ones that are out there.
Yeah,
Shit, I saw a
exactly.
4-door Nova, and now
Now
Even
they're
the
selling
4-doors are
conversion
looking
kits.
good.
Yeah, exactly.
they call, you know, they're,
4-doors are looking
and
good
Sean,
now.
I don't know how you guys call them, but they call them quad cabs now.
Well,
The quad cab Novas, or I got a quad cab, whatever, you know, Chevelle. So they're working with them, but I like what you're doing, man.
yeah, I mean, like
Converting
I
them
said,
into one?
man, 2-door conversions. I mean, it's the way to go. You know, if you have a 4-door, it's usually a family car. You know, you pull it out on Sunday, man, go out get some pancakes. You know, but
Love
the
the-
2-door is what's bringing the money. That's what's cute on the streets, man.
And plus,
So-
if you make them custom, you blow them out long.
Yeah, exactly.
That now it's
Exactly.
definitely a custom. So
Yeah.
then, what do you do with the inside of the window? They're all electric windows, right?
no,
or
no,
don't you
most
do-
of them are hand crank.
Oh, so even when you do that modification?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, I can convert them over to electric. I mean, no problem. You know, but whatever the customer wants, you know, I give them. You know, you want electric, you want a hand crank, whatever.
Okay.
You know,
So throughout fixing these Chevys up and having a collection of them, how much of is that consumed like a day in, day out basis? Is that mostly what you're doing throughout the day? What's like your real job, so to speak?
man, my real job is mini bikes, man. I've
Yeah.
been building and collecting for over 30 years, man, and the mini bikes is where my heart is, man. I mean, it's something that brings us all together. I mean, it's no color lines, man. I'm part of a world peace movement, and the mini bike scene is something that we have where we all can have a common ground without all the crap, you know. And man, I'm just happy to be part of it. You know, I play a small role to something that's greater than me, and I'm holding down my position, I think.
Yeah,
You know?
especially out there in that Antelope Valley where it does seem, and I hope to. I've yet to have the chance to come and check you out, but it seems like you're like the doctor on call.
Hey, man, I mean, have tools will fix, you know.
So how's it work? Saturday morning, you know you're going to come out in the garage and you're either going to work on your bike or a customer's deal, and then what? They just start rolling up, or that text starts blowing up, or your phone starts ringing,
Man,
or they're...
it starts usually the night before, man. You know, I start getting people hitting me either on Facebook or Instagram, and they kind of set up appointments. It's like a barber shop, you know, first come, first serve, you know, and I actually have a whiteboard where it's about 6 spaces, no more than 6 a day. You know, I work on no less than 1 bike a day, and I build no more than 4 bikes a day, you know, and that's on a daily basis, you know. So this year alone, I've built over 170 bikes, you know.
That's some volume, huh, Ed?
Man, I mean, like I said, I'm in the AV. I'm the only person in the AV that really does what I do. So, man, it's pretty lucrative for me.
Good, and it's got to be a pretty laid-back, chill backdrop. I mean, you know, we're not building tanks.
No.
I mean, mini bikes, by now, you got them figured out. So how do you starting off? Are you starting with someone else's frames?
I actually use Rafael Ramirez, his frames, GTS Hobbies.
Yeah, they're
that's ground zero for me, man. It's a good solid frame. I don't
popular.
have
They put on a great event yesterday.
Most definitely. He's held a few events and pretty big turnouts. That's a blank canvas for me, man. I can take that in any direction. It can be a drag bike. It can be a street cruiser. Man, I can turn it into a three-wheeler. I can turn it into a bike with a sidecar.
It's a good foundation for you.
Exactly. It's a great
Shawn,
blank
so do you
canvas.
do you do it based on what that customer wants, so that when you do talk to GT, you can get a different sized frame?
He sells 3 types of frames, man. He sells a drag frame, a long frame, and a short frame. And like I said, depending on what the customer wants, that's what I buy. So
How thick is the frame width on the
7/8.
7/8?
7/8.
Okay. Yeah, well, that'll work for you, especially in most applications. And then it's just a matter of what the guy wants to do. Most of you guys probably rolling in with Predator engines and starting from there?
Yeah. Predator engine is pretty hot right now. Tim Inski sells a lot of hop-up parts as far as billet side plates, modified carburetors, cams, springs, rockers.
So you make available whatever he may have, like through his catalog, as an example?
Most definitely. When I go down, man, I bring a big shopping basket, to bring parts back to the AV, because like I said, I'm the only guy in the AV. I service Lake LA, Tehachapi, Bakersfield, Sylmar,
Wow, coming down all the way to Sylmar, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
So when that phone starts ringing, I would imagine it probably gets close to like starting on Wednesday, Thursday night, because everybody wants to be out there on the weekend, right?
Yeah, I guess my weekend starts around Thursday. And,
Okay.
And Sunday somehow seems to be like my hottest day, man. That's when everybody wants the bike fixed or wants something custom or wants to come by and check out what I have available.
Yeah, how nice. So they get to roll out, and like I haven't seen the setup. You got everything from project bikes to rollers to parts laying around for these guys.
Yeah, most definitely. Man, I have engines in stock. I have performance parts, vintage bikes, man, custom bikes, just a little bit of everything.
I
man.
can't wait to get out there.
Man, I can't wait
maybe
for you to come
maybe
by.
we'll take a little road trip, Ed.
Yeah.
See what's happening out there. So let's talk a little bit about how you got started. You were into cats?
Yeah, man, my first mini bike, man, as a kid was a Cat 250, and I guess that's kind of like my favorite mini bike. So now I maybe have 15 to 20 cats, man, everything from 250s to Eliminators.
Yeah, I saw that collection. There was a photo of your shop where it kind of went around the whole U.
Yeah.
So how did you come across that first cat? How old were you? And was that something that was bought for you? Did you get it?
I was kind of a spoiled rotten brat. I was the only boy, 6 sisters. So anything that I kind of looked at, man, my grandparents or my parents bought it for me. So I was that kid on the block that had everything. So, man, like
Good
I
for
said,
you.
Cat 250 was my first mini bike, man. And,
Wow.
And like I said, I love
Front and rear suspension?
No. This one is a rigid frame.
Oh,
man.
okay, because I thought they had that front suspension. I was looking at some of those photos.
Yeah. Those are usually the Dominators, the Slingshots, the
Got it. Okay.
Eliminators.
So you had the rigid frame model.
Yeah, exactly. The basic model.
And what horsepower engine did you have on that?
Man,
Do you
I had
remember?
a little cheesy 2 horsepower Briggs, but
That got you started.
yeah, it got me started when I was about 7. Man, I took my mom's boyfriend lawnmower apart with a pair of pliers, and she came in the house. Damn it, Shawn Michael is gonna kill you. So I put it back together, man, and the damn thing ran better than it did when he actually dropped it off, man. So from that point, man, I've been building. I worked on everybody's bike in the neighborhood. I actually lived maybe 3 or 4 blocks from one of the hottest shops in Compton, Custom City, as a kid, man. And I went in that shop every day almost, man, until the old man threw me out. It was time to close the shop. And, man, I got to play on the Bonanzas,
Wasn't it great back then when they had the stores where you could literally go in there and they had like brand new bikes?
Yeah, man.
And all different colors and different
Man, every model of every bike that you can imagine was at Custom City,
Shawn,
man.
at Custom City. Now, when was that? Take us back there.
Man,
Was that the 70s?
The 70s, man.
Okay.
Late 70s.
And who are you hanging with at the time? Like who are the guys that you were doing your mini bike time with down there?
Just a bunch of my cousins, man. Like I said, I had 6 sisters, so I hung with my cousins, man.
Were they into the mini bike scene
yeah,
too?
Everybody were into mini bikes and go-karts and dirt bikes at that time, man. And we just rode our bikes all over Compton, man, from the east side to the west side. You know, that's all we did, you know.
Yeah, that was
just to keep us out of trouble, you know.
Well, they're still doing it.
Yeah.
And we, you know, I didn't think you'd be able to roll all the way down there from AV, but I'm glad that we went out there. There's a little bit of a hike, but like anything else, just like when I asked those guys to come all the way up there to Locker Center to come to my event, right?
Yeah.
But getting out there, and the crowd was interesting too. It's a young crowd.
Yeah.
And
Now-
you know, and when you think about it, they were out. No one was playing fucking Pokemon, Find Pokemon. It was like people were talking, people were barbecuing, people were working on bikes. People were obviously racing. People were having fun, giving each other shit. We got some firsthand views of that. We talked about it, but it was nice and laid back, and there was no issues. There was no issues. It seemed as if they had a nice thing going. And I commend those guys for doing a pretty nice job. It was worth rolling out
they
there.
Did a nice job. They
Yeah.
got it off without the cops showing up.
Yeah, it got, you know, towards the end, and sometimes, you know, you run that risk of sounding like an old bastard, but I can qualify for that too. And Ed, thank you. I think you even mentioned something about it too online. And you know how it is, Shawn. It's tough to tell. And I noticed even on their flyer, it says helmets required.
Yeah, helmets.
Yeah, and you know, we've got some.
Safety first, man. You
and-
gotta
and-
wear your personal protection.
And there's a lot of
equipment.
guys that just weren't wearing helmets still.
Yeah.
And so I know that if you rolled up with a big block, you weren't going to go down that track, and that was a rule.
Yeah.
And if the helmets were required and you rolled up without the helmet, that's the same thing. It's kind of a rule.
Yeah.
Plus, a lot of dudes are rolling up in like flip-flops and socks. That shit don't cut
All
it
it
either.
takes is one little bump
Right?
to throw you
Yeah,
off
exactly,
that thing.
man.
So they had loaners, and I offered loaners, and I'm far from Robin Hood with this message about helmets. And honestly, I'm an idiot. A time or two, I've noticed that I've been on these mini bikes without a helmet. But I can tell you what, they can just like that. So here we go. Sorry ass, you know, the 3 token white guys rolling down there. Me, Ed, well,
Jay.
4. Yeah, we're walking down there, right? We're watching the first race, and we know we had to find a spot, Shawn, out of the heat.
Yeah,
Because it was
hot.
hot out there, right? So we find a spot and on the way down there, the first guy that takes off and launches almost lost his bike. So, you know, it could happen, and it does happen. So you reach a lot of these guys when they come in the shop looking for some help, and you kind of urge them about the helmets as well. You know what I mean?
Most definitely, man. I mean, you have to protect yourself, man. Accidents do happen, and man, safety is first. Man, life is the most important thing that we have, and we have to preserve it, man. So you got to wear your personal protection equipment. You
Well, it was
have
also
to.
good politics for them, too, because the time I think that they had some issues was largely because the cops had come around a few times,
Yeah.
and they didn't have helmets on.
Yeah.
And they-
Majority of the time, if you have on a helmet and the crowd's not in the roadway blocking traffic and stuff like that, man, they really don't bother you.
So, you know, this was far from like a helmet show, but when Emmanuel and I went out to an event, it was an event in LA, was it Experiment LA? Inspiration LA. When did they change the name of that event? So we went crazy. See the orange helmet? Bam. I saw this thing, looked like it's from the Jetsons,
Yeah.
this old helmet.
Oh, it's the bubble face.
Yeah, right? And I guess what I'm getting at is, and I've got half helmets and Honda of Glendale, right there, Honda Glendale, where I ordered my new Grom. They gave us a bunch of helmets to give away. We must have given away 8-10 helmets last year. They feed me helmets. So maybe we'll do a competition for like a decent deal. Like I'll give away like a built Predator, and we'll give away some pipes, and I'll get a bunch of other shit from my sponsors, and we'll have a helmet contest where they design and paint and customize a helmet.
All right.
You know? Yeah, we'll do a little helmet awareness promo. And if we can pull it off this year, we'll do it. If not, but enough with helmets, because if you're dumb enough to ride one without one,
I
or if
just think that they're out there and they don't think it's going to happen to them.
well, we saw it happen in the first race, and then
It's
what
not
was it?
gonna
An hour
happen to
later, Another dude, probably my age, in shorts, had the Mr. T starter kit deal on, right? The whole fucking barbed wire tattoo with the goatee, and he's on launched that thing. It took off like it was a hot tamale coming out of his ass, and boom, everything that was pointy. He was hopping around.
He got up and it was like I hurt, but I
He didn't
know
know.
where.
Yeah.
I don't know where I hurt.
You
but
know,
I
you
hurt.
try to reach the fucking back where you can't get to it, and I felt for him. But there's a part of me, it's like, look, if that happened, you can't do anything about it. I already have, but I hope enough people saw it.
Yeah, that should encourage you to put on a helmet, man.
And here's the last thing I'll say about it. And here's where really you close the circle on all this. I was out there like a P.T. Barnum and Bailey. You would have been proud of me, Shawn. I was handing out my stickers. Hey, come to the event. Come to the event. And a lot of people had known about it, and a lot of people wanted one, so I gave them out. And I always go for the young kids because they're out there living it. You know, that's how we all got started, right?
Young kids love stickers.
Oh,
man.
they do too.
Better than
right?
lollipops.
So you know it. So I'm giving them all stickers, and I met this one little kid. I gave him a sticker, and then like an hour later, I'm giving out stickers, and I already gave him one, but you know he wanted another, and he immediately put on his helmet, and he's taking off on his mini bike, going back and forth. And as we were leaving, you know, I'm taking my time. I'm going slow. I got the directional on, seatbelts on. We get ready to make a right-hand turn to leave that place, and here comes 4 of them, the opposite direction. And one of them was like coming right at our truck, and it's this kid, this great little kid I just gave the decal to. It's like, could you imagine? Because they were unorganized, and there was no one watching those kids.
Yeah.
And it
needs to be a little bit more organized, man. I mean, safety first. You know,
How true.
It has to be a safe environment for all at all times, man. And if it can get a little bit more organized and every single rider has a helmet, man, it'll be a beautiful situation.
Well, yeah, and it's no different than the risk that you take on anything that goes fast. So just be mindful of it. So Ed, you brought out, thank you, your drag bike, and I know you had a chance to spend a little time with Shawn. This is a Temecula frame, long frame, huh?
Yeah.
The Temecula Bob, and it's got the blue wazoo working. I know you're not done with it, but give us a little idea what's going on there.
Still setting it up. It's almost done set up. I got a polished rear wheel for it. Got to put some braces in it here.
It stopped really well. I noticed when I got on it.
Yeah, I got a Bonanza brake back there.
Yeah, that
I
thing.
like Bonanzas, so I got every time I get a chance to use something Bonanza.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I got a metal Bonanza chain guard I'm going to cut up and make a cover for it, for the clutch.
I have only had one Bonanza with that metal clutch cover. It's on that
These
blue
are
one in there.
reproductions that Dino made. I gave him one to copy,
Yeah.
and he was reproducing them.
So you got any more left?
He's got some seconds.
All right. So if
We
anybody's
took 'em to
looking,
this guy, and they spot welded them in the wrong spot. They put a little gap where the bell comes in,
right?
and the flat part goes up. There's a little gap right there. I
Can work with that.
The guy was on drugs or something.
I thought this was a prerequisite.
So yeah, so
So
adapt a Bonanza cover to it, so I don't stick my pant leg into the clutch.
yeah, you need a little guard there. I see you've got the Kawasaki.
Yeah, Kawasaki 900 steering damper 7 or 6 position.
That's almost mandatory on that bike with that motor and that long frame. Looks
Yeah.
pretty badass too because it's that thin model. What year was that?
This was off like a 70, 69, 70, 71.
Yeah, it almost looks like it should be there, huh, Shawn?
Kawasaki 500,
Yeah.
Kawasaki 750.
Oh, there you go. Couple little tacks, and that tank looks like a familiar tank. Whose tank is that?
That's a B&M tank.
Yeah.
I had
Looks like a big
Bonanza
suppository.
tank on there that I made the fiberglass one.
Yeah.
And it was sealed. But the first time I poured the M5 in there and ran it, the sealer started getting eaten up.
Wow. Was shitty sealer? Or extra powerful M5? What the hell you got in there?
Powerful M5, I think. But
Yeah,
you
they're-
know what? And it was running out of gas pretty fast with that tank. So I go, I got to get a bigger
Yeah.
tank on there. So
That looks right out there. The seat looks right.
yeah, I got this.
You went OMB on the
you
pipe,
made-
huh? Would you go? You went budget mind on the pipe, but it looks nice up there.
I made that pipe.
Did you?
Yeah.
It looks like that. You know, they've got those starter pipes off OMB. I bought one for the Bonanza.
No, that's a one you can buy for an animal. a cheapie, and then I modified it.
Okay.
Cut it and then modified it to fit.
So, Ed, we mentioned the Blue Wazoo, and some folks still looking for a little clarity on that. In layman's terms, what is a Blue Wazoo?
It's a Blue Wazoo. It's
Okay.
a go-kart motor that's for like racing. The guy builds them, but he puts caps on the bolts so you can't take them apart and do anything to them.
It's class, man.
Ah.
It's class racing.
So you know if those are tampered with?
Yeah.
Got
You
it.
can't
Ah, I
do
like
it.
it.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to put out 18 horsepower.
Have you used those in any of your builds, or you fix any of those up during your day?
Yeah, I've used a few, and like you said, if you cut the seal on them, you can't race in that class, you know.
But see, I'm racing mini bikes, so I can
Yeah.
cut the seal anytime
Yeah,
I want.
exactly.
Sure. Got it.
But I figured I'd try it. Got a good price on it.
Temecula Bob's Bikes.
I
You know,
got
he,
my tack from Iski.
yeah. What do you think you need to finish that up, Ed?
And you know me.
Just a little bit here and there. Yeah, good. Well,
Well, you know, I did never build stuff for myself. I
Well,
had
the
to
reason
take
why-
time to get this.
I was hoping that you'd get it done before the event.
Well, I'm hoping to get it done for the event.
Well, and that's why I was curious about what else you think you had to do. If it's just wheels and
Well, I
tires
take
and
it apart. I have a back wheel already polished for the back.
yep, you mentioned that.
The rest of the stuff's fairly new. I think I'm going to take the bike apart, and we're going to patina the frame with this metal etching stuff.
Yeah, who was talking about that?
Yeah, they sell different colors.
Oh,
now.
Jake Moe was talking about
Yeah, I
that.
think I'm going to patina the metal.
So how does that process work?
You Scotch Brite it, get it clean, wipe it clean with first you clean it, wash it with soap and water, dry it
Yeah.
off,
So far, I've done this with my Frioli. I did that. Okay, you wash it off, you
wash it
Scotch
off.
Brite it.
and then you kind of scuff it with Scotch Brite, try and get the scratches all going the same way. And then you use I use a pre-cleano for paint. Clean it one more time, and then you actually spray this patina on with a spray bottle, or pour it on with a rag and wipe it
Like a
on
stain?
with a rag. You let it sit for whatever it says on the instructions, 5-10 minutes, whatever, and you rinse it off. And then you can either wax it, clear it.
That's the finish, though.
Yeah, but they have it different colors now. So
So if you
before
want
it
to go
was
brown
black.
or gray or black,
Yeah, you could do black.
that's amazing.
but
I knew
now-
they were airbrushing. There's a group that we mentioned before, Street Machinery. They do all kinds of bubble top Impalas and C-Series pickup trucks. That's their big thing. They've probably bought every one that's been available in the U.S. over the last 5 years, and everything is that patina look,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
patina's
they
in now, man.
and they can airbrush it. You know,
Yeah,
Sean, like they can
exactly.
finish it up.
So my friend, he's been experimenting, and he's been mixing some stuff, and he's got like a copper color now,
Oh, that'd be nice.
and he's got like a purple color, and so I
Yeah.
think we're gonna do a patina it.
I
But I'm gonna clear it. I'm not gonna keep waxing it.
How pricey is this stuff, Ed? Like, how much is what do you need? You need a quart?
Actually, it comes in these little bottles, these plastic bottles.
Okay.
And I think they're like $40 a bottle.
Get them online, or is
I get them at Industrial Metal.
Yeah, we'll have to. That could be something that you guys may be into, because a lot of folks ask about it, and there's also some shit I was hearing about the folks who.
It's like gun gluing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, painting versus powder coating on mini bikes. There's a group of guys grunting about powder coating bikes rather than painting them, and then now there's this group of growing segment of folks that it's not about the paint, particularly when it comes to the cars, like we were talking about. Sean.
Yeah. Man, like you said, man, the patina is in now. It shows the history of the car, where it's been, what it's been through. Especially if it's a survivor, it's drivable. I don't really, I don't like powder coating and chrome in my mini bikes, man. I rattle can them.
Yeah.
It just looks better to me. If you feel like you want to change the color, or if you have to make an adjustment, it's easy to touch it up with paint. Powder coat, man, you got to sandblast it and redo
And they don't
it.
make the powder coat like it used to be.
Yeah, man. The old powder coat used to be hard as a bowling ball, man.
You bring it home now, you put it down on a carpet and it chips off.
You cough on it, man, and it flakes off like fish food.
Yeah.
You know.
And they do let you down, because I brought my first year doing the mini bike event. I gave away 2 bikes.
All right.
And I had one powder coated purple, make like a Laker style bike, and we had one red, and powder coated them both. And each of them, a very simple, placement, nudged up against something, came right off. So, although I can't bitch about it, I got a really good deal on it, but I guess you get what you pay for. Hey, Shawn, so this car collection that you recently posted, what's the deal behind that?
Man, like I said, I'm a welder fabricator. Periodically, I get calls from different car collectors who, have a pretty big collection, and they get ready to restore them, So I go in for a few days, man. I replace quarter panels, I replace the floors, trunks, whatever they need done, get them ready for paint, get them ready for, full restoration. I've been doing this, man, since I was a kid,
But didn't you more recently have some of those available for sale?
Yeah. They're all for sale. They're all for sale. The guy sells them online, and like I said, I'm just a hot man. I go in and cut them up, and I stitch them up and push them back out the door, man.
So what do those go for now? Like if somebody wanted to get into one of those?
You can get a project car for around $3,500. That's kind of like a rolling chassis, no motor, no seats, no chrome.
They all look like they were coupes.
Yeah. Most of them are coupes or convertibles. All the way up to maybe $30,000 is something that's fully restored. It depends on your bracket, your budget that if you want to do it yourself or if you want us to do it, it all depends on what you want to spend.
Seems like all the guys that are up there in the AV that were they're still a big part of the mini bike scene. We talked about Jake earlier and Unparalleled Customs. It's all kind of spirited from like a car shop. It's just like it seems like they go hand in hand there. So you follow a pretty similar trait than like most of us. Most of us that are really the mini bike guys that you knew as a kid really were the guys that just grew up to be car guys.
Yeah.
As well. It's all kind of the same machine, isn't it?
It's all the same, man. I mean, it's all motors and paint and seats and anything custom, man. I'm into it, man.
Outside of the F&B pipes and some of the products that are offered through ISKI, what other parts and pieces do you use? Do you find yourself shopping with other vendors, like when you're looking for tires, for example, or what do you do with seats or some of the other bolt-on accessories? Where else do you reach out?
I have a little old lady that lives in my neighborhood that sews my seats for me. I tell her what color I want. Man, she stitches them up for me and makes the best chocolate chip cookies in the world, bro.
Great.
Man. She keeps me fat and happy with seats, man.
The seats are such a focal point to giving the bike a feel. Ed and I experienced that a couple of times when we helped out with some builds for some companies, CRC, Pioneer, Fiberlock, and the seat was such a big visual part of the bike because the bike's so small.
Yeah.
When you take some time and you build a really nice seat, it really adds to the feel and the theme of that bike. You notice that?
That's the first thing that you kind of look at is the seat. Then you kind of look at the color of the bike, and then you go down and you kind of look at the motor, and then if it's got fuel line, and if everything kind of flows. It's kind of like a work of art, like a Picasso. You can't have a well-built bike and then a piece of duct tape holding on a piece of foam or a pillow. It just throws the whole flow of the bike off. So, man, nice seat is like, man.
Ed's laughing because every one of his bikes got.
No, I built a bike at Wimber a couple of years ago, and it was a Bonanza. I built it right there in the area.
On-site build?
No, it was inside.
No, I mean on-site.
Yeah, on site. And I didn't have a seat for the parade, so I sat on a 6-inch mini bike tire.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Man,
For the parade, I sat on a mini bike tire.
That and a bungee cord, man.
Yeah,
You're in.
exactly. Bungee cord or duct tape.
Yeah, there was. We have had some fun. I've got a guy, Derek. who works for a company, safety strap manufacturer. Good friend of mine. He doesn't like anybody to tell anybody about him, but he built the seats, and he built something really cool for Pioneer, where it was kind of like a toilet, where there was like a space in there where you got to sit down and you can feel the bass.
All right.
And it's all built in. The bike hopefully will be done. I talked to Jake, who is finishing up Frankenstein, which is that bike that has had a few owners over the years, right, Ed?
Yeah.
We finally got that bike going, and he's put some finishing touches on it. He put the Frankenstein head on the shifter. That looked pretty cool, and I finally got to take a look at it with the pipe that Frank made. Frank made a really nice custom pipe for the bike, and he's finishing up the Pioneer bike too. Hopefully we'll see that this year, but those seats, again, it's the little things. The other thing that we found out was you can dick around with the outside of the tires. With one of the builds, and look, he's already grimacing. We used there's a company, Shawn, that you may not be familiar with, or you may. It's called TireStickers.com.
All right, I've seen those little decals they put on the outside.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean every little thing that you can do to the bike, man, as far as detail, makes the bike pop. You know, makes it just that more flashier, or gives it another visual effect, you know. And I like to be different, man. I use stickers, I use colored fuel line, I use colored grips. Man, anything to separate my bikes from other people's bikes, man. You know, I just like to stand out.
Well, you do have a look. You use a lot of teals, a lot of greens, a lot of bright
Orange,
colors. I see,
man, a lot of pastel colors.
So if you're rattling them off, and they're going out that door, and they're digging that, then you just keep on doing it. I think everybody's kind of got their own little style out there. Everybody's got their own little feel. There's folks that just love them,
stock.
Yeah.
Some people like them stock. Man, I like to keep it hot.
There you go, the hot spot. So I had asked you about your customer earlier. Who is your typical guy? What's his typical demographic, like his age? I'm assuming it's a young guy. Not more guys than gals.
25 to 30. I've built a few bikes for females.
Yeah,
man.
but mostly like 7 out of 10, mostly guys.
Yeah, mostly guys.
Okay.
Around 25 to 30.
And they walk in with just an idea, or are they rolling in with like a frame off of Craigslist? Are they looking for you to build a whole bike?
Just build a whole bike. They come in and give me an idea of what they want, or the size motor that they want, or the type of bike that they want, whether it's a vintage bike or it's a full-out race bike. And I kind of build off their personality, maybe the way that they dress, or the type of car that they pulled up in, or even the way that they speak, or even the type of music that they listen to, whether it's rock and roll.
Let their personality help you with the...
Exactly. So that gives me a foundation to start, and then I shoot a few ideas out, and if they like them, most of the time they just let me go ahead and do what I do, man.
Yeah.
And
like a barber, your example.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you don't come in and say, look on the back. It's like you just shut up and sit on a chair.
Yeah, exactly, man. Just sit down and let me take this, man.
Yeah. So then how does it then work? Because usually, how everybody breaks your balls about it. Well, what's a bike cost? Because they want you to say it's $100, and how do you handle that part of it?
My stock bike starts at $600, and then the next step is maybe $850.
What's $600 get you?
It's a stock GTS roller with a stock Predator, and you can choose whatever color you want. And then the next step up, I'll add a F&B pipe, 27 millimeter carburetor, and
what carbs do you use?
The 28 millimeter flat slides, like the Cosos, or the China version Mikunis,
like the clones.
Or exactly.
Mikuni clones.
Or if they want to pay for Mikuni,
sure.
I use Mikuni.
Yeah.
It all depends on the customer. What they want.
So your stage, you got a basic bike. You got a stage 1 bike, gives them a little bit of carb, a little bit of maybe intake pipe, air cleaner,
air cleaner, valve springs, And then you would go up to around $1,200 where you can get like a cam and, you know, maybe a billet flywheel, billet connecting rod. And I do a little bit more as far as detail, like I might paint the rims or paint the motor, or, you know, just add a few more extras as far as.
Will you do the work? Like you'll take apart the stock Predator and you'll install the cam, do all that. Got you. So
man, I do
everything.
all the work.
So you're doing it all.
Yeah, I have a little guy, my nephew Arleo Davis, man. He comes through and he helps me set the valves and
Great.
And, you know, when it's time to tune the motor, you know, he comes through and he helps me.
So who's he?
My nephew Arleo Davis.
Tell me a little bit about him.
Man, he's a pretty good guy. He lives up in Lancaster with me, and man, like I said, that's my right hand man. That's kind of like my protege. Everything that I know as far as welding and tuning and painting, I kind of pass it on to him. Like my kids they're not really interested in the mini bikes, man. I mean, they've been in the mini bike scene like all of their lives, and I guess it kind of just burned out on them or something like that, man. So, you know, I have a few guys that stick close to me, and like I said, I teach them how to weld, I teach them how to paint, man. I teach them how to build motors and
Very
things
cool.
like that. You know, I got to give it to somebody, man. I can't die with all the knowledge. You know, I got to pass it on.
Well, there's such great platforms to do that, aren't they? Because it's not as if you're getting them into something that's so overwhelming at the beginning. You know, you can start somebody off.
Yeah, start
pretty
them
basic,
off slow,
right?
Man, start them off slow. With, you know, the proper way to connect the throttle. You know, chain length. Man, just different things. You know, tire pressure. You know, setting the valves, carburetors. You know, how to take a carburetor apart and clean it and put it back together. You know, I get busy sometimes, man, and I can't always fix a foot peg or fix a chain, or, you know, when I'm in the middle of a big project or something like that. So, like I said, my nephew, he's pretty good at that, man.
Well, that is part of it, too, is bringing somebody through, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, pulling them through. We have, over the years with Joe's Minibike Reunion, had to focus on younger enthusiasts. It's called the Young Guns program.
All right.
And it was just a natural addition to the awards program, because many of these mini bikes have united, although it may not be, you know, you're in a little bit of a different world. I can see where your kids would be sick of mini bikes, but
Yeah, man.
generally speaking, that doesn't happen as frequently. So that when a mini bike comes down the path, father and his son building those bikes, that's a really good time. That's a good way for those guys to do something together.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we've done that before. We've actually had a build on site. We have special awards for those young gun participants who enter a bike that they've had a part in building, and it's grown. One of the and it seems like it's almost predictable. Jake Mo's son,
All right.
you know, he's already into it, you know, like big time, and just from hanging around, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of guys, and we saw that yesterday, did we? Yeah, there's a lot of young guys out there.
Yeah, there was a lot of youngsters out there.
You know, there are a lot
I
of.
think my daughter's more interested in riding mini bikes than my sons are, man. You know, she likes to ride and race. And
AV kind of, I think, doesn't Antelope Valley, don't you think it promotes a little bit, there's a little bit more of that? Like when you're out there, there seems that the group that lives out there is you're out there a little bit more in the dirt. You're out there on recreational vehicles.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's a lot more area to ride, man.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about cars. I mean, you can ride in any direction for 2 hours and never see a car, cop, or anything. A lot of times we camp out in the desert and we ride. We wake up 2 o'clock in the morning, man, and maybe ride to Lake LA, or, you know, ride through the Angeles Forest or something, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to stop there, but I want to come back there because we have talked so much. In fact, D, who was out there, David Rivas, who's been on the show as well, been talking about that challenge right there is riding with a group,
Right.
and where you can do it. And he's been targeting that AV area.
Man.
And we'll take a quick pause. We're here at Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast number 10 with Papa Smurf, Shawn Reed, and Evil Ed. Evil Ed's got the Temecula Bob long frame out there, that drag bike with the blue Wazoom. And this was just a sneak peek, you know. You don't have a chance to see this shit unless you're watching the podcast. So, Ed, thanks for rolling that out.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll catch up a little bit with you. And next week's guest on the, or next, not next week, but on the next Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast, we're slated to have Kevin from Steady Garage. Kevin is the, one of the top guys in that Grom scene. You know, the Honda Groms, and now that new Kawasaki, that Grom-like, I think it's a Pro X 125. That bike's out there now, and also have all the Ruckus fans out there. That's their world. Steady Garage. They sponsor the dyno at Joe's Minibike Reunion. Kevin's going to come out. I think he's on his way to Japan for some big monster Grom event. So we're either going to catch him on his way out or on his way back. I think he's on his way out. He's not going to be able to come to the show, but he's still supporting the show. And I want to get him on there because we've talked a lot about rigid frame bikes over the podcast. I just want to kind of check in with our guys who are working on some of the modern style mini bikes out there. I talked about the folks over at Honda of Glendale. I bought my Grom from Darlene there, and Brian and Kathleen. Thank you so much for the great work that you do as a sponsor. Like I said, they give away tons of helmets every year. They've been with my event for 5 years, so we'll check out what's happening with that current scene. And if you are looking to buy a Grom, get down to Honda of Glendale and ask Darlene for a smoking deal. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back in just a few. Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast.
Joe's Minibike Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. It's podcast number 10. I'm your host, Joe Dodato. Well, not really, Joe Sebergandio. Speaking of, hello, Joe Dodato from Michigan. I'll be seeing you along with Myron Bailey and whoever other victims that are out there in minibike world in the Motor City tomorrow. I won't be actually out tomorrow. I'll be arriving tomorrow, but hopefully I'll see you Friday. We're going to be on the Woodward Dream Cruise for Roadkill magazine. Shawn, you had a chance to check out Roadkill. That's you, baby.
Man, it's pretty sick mag, man.
You know, they're taking all those
rusty
looking
crusty dusties
left out in the middle of nowhere cars, and they're fucking running them in the fives.
Man.
So that's great. We got a little mini bike love in that summer issue. In fact, we're in there a couple times. If you haven't had a chance to pick up a copy of Roadkill magazine, the summer issue is still out. Every one of them are collectibles. You know, Shawn, like a typical magazine sells for like $3-4.
All right.
How much do you think that magazine sells for? It's
Man,
$10.
$10.
And you can't find them. They sell like they're giving away tickets to heaven. So it's Roadkill, and congratulations to Mike Finnegan and David Freiberger for all the great work that they're doing with Roadkill. Can't wait to get out there. Drag racing in the streets.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yes.
Okay? You don't do that shit, but we are. We also have our friends, and I want to thank them because this begins the first episode, Ed, of us being supported financially from
CRC?
a sponsor. Excuse me. That was a bad way to start off. Must be all that tequila coming out of me. Yeah, very, very proud to have Brake Clean support. You know, they litter our event with product. They're big sponsors of Roadkill as well. They're the official brake parts cleaner. And
Good stuff.
it's great stuff too. You know, I
use it to clean the blocks and the frames before I get ready to paint them. You know, knocks all the grease and dust and sand and grime off of them, man.
You know, like when, unfortunately, folks at some point got to get under the knife and they tape you off before they operate on you. They put all that plastic shit on you and they cut you up. It's like that's what brake clean is for car parts. You know, it's like you get this. And we just took on one of their dirty part and plastic cleaners that the Roadkill guys are going to be using. And I'm going to see them out there because CRC is sponsoring the dyno. So the guys that come out to that Roadkill event have a chance to put their vehicle on a dyno. It's like everybody's doing the dyno. So thank you, CRC, for the love, as well as all our other sponsors that we have, Green Filters and F&B Racing. We talked about those guys are going to be giving out a ton of pipes. A nice roller at Joe's Minibike Reunion on October the 1st. And Shawn, we'll see you there.
Most definitely.
While we had a chance to take a little bit of a break, You know, I'd like to go back in and check some of the notes and some of the emails, and we got a lot of replies. It must have been a couple hundred responses. Now, 300 of the 200 were from your daughters. So if you do the reverse math on that, it turned out that we called people. But no, thank you, because that just tells me that you got some good love over there, huh?
Yeah, man. My daughter follows me, man, everywhere, man. She was actually born on Father's Day. So, man, I have a pretty tight bond with her.
Good.
And she loves to ride mini bikes, man. And
Will you bring her to the
that
event?
must mess up
Most
your
definitely.
Father's Day.
No, man. It was the greatest Father's Day gift that I could have, man.
Oh, that's
Like I
coming from
said,
Ed, you know.
3 sons, 1 daughter, man. I mean, you know, hey.
All the
Could- who-
attention goes to her on Father's Day.
Hey,
Well, he
man.
was the guy with all the gals, so he knows both ends, right?
Yeah,
he was
most
getting the mini bikes.
Yeah.
You know, she's getting the mini bikes too, right?
Yeah.
So well, that's just nice. I want to mention one of the replies I got was from someone looking for the podcast, and it's Sonny Yorkman. Sonny's a good friend of ours from SEMA. He's also he's an enthusiast, but he's into the modern day bikes. You know, the Ruckuses and the Groms, and he had a dyno installed in the back of a truck, I believe, and I asked him about it. Turns out that it's his, and I'm working with him to have that in addition to our dyno that we've had now going on 2 years. We'll have like not a backup, but we'll have a second dyno because things happen, right?
Yeah. Right.
And I thought because he was really into those late model, current day bikes, that he would facilitate maybe the Groms and the Ruckuses and the CT70s, and then maybe my trailer guy Louie
Mini bike.
to the mini bikes, right? Louie don't care. He's in there fucking
Doesn't
smoking
matter.
cigarettes and he drinks
Oh, right up
oil.
my alley. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
that's what I
join
mean.
him.
He's and Sonny's listening, and it's a small world. Sonny got his doodle bug from you.
All right.
So now when I say that, it's not like you're only building like 2 or 3 bikes. When you're building hundreds of bikes, it's tough to keep tracks of the Joes and the Eds and the Sonnies, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of hard, man, but I try to name the special bikes. I try to take as many pictures as I can to, you know, kind of keep track of them on.
You should have your wall of fame.
Yeah, I should start a wall of fame.
You know, like, and that's the deal. They all get a nice picture, and they make the wall,
Yeah.
right?
You can check me out on Instagram, #hotspot. Usually the hot bikes make it on Instagram or my Facebook page.
You seem to give out a lot of love, and I mean that in a good way. And I guess what I'm saying is that not every bike that you post is a bike that is $1 million bike. I mean, they're all when you think about it, they run a gamut, and I love that. It's like it's a good representation of the mini bike enthusiast market.
Yeah, I mean,
Mild to wild is from what I can see.
man, you start out low and you gradually build up. I mean, you start out with a basic bike and you add this and you add that, and before you know it, you got a full-out race bike. I mean, you know, we all have to start from somewhere.
Let me play a little devil's advocate with you. GTS frame, yeah, they're there. Those of us on the West Coast, we're aware of them. You know, we know about those guys. To some of the core mini bike guys, they go from a more of a traditional thread, Shawn. They're going to want to start with the name of a trail horse or a taco or a bonanza. You know, they want those name brands rather than go for let's call it an off brand just for the sake. You know the word generic, like when you buy vitamins, are the same damn thing, but one's generic, right?
Yeah.
A clone is another description. Clone bikes. Have you had? Has that ever entered your mind? Do you find customers that would rather you build them a Bonanza or a Taco, and then what do you do in those cases? Or are your builds just all customs?
Those are usually vintage restorations, man. Like when I restore a Taco or a Cat or even a Bonanza, man, those bikes call for the high dollars. You know, you find yourself searching the internet or hitting up these different swap meets looking for parts, man. I mean, the rims and the fenders and the handlebars and things for those vintage bikes.
Chain guards, like we talked
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
The
The
sissy
chain
bar for
guards.
the sissy bar. Imagine trying to find it.
Man, I think the chain guard for a Cat is like calling $350 now. You know,
It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Fenders are like $200. You know, so those are kind of the older guys, the guys that had them back in the 60s and the 70s. You know, that want those bikes that they wanted as a kid and really couldn't afford it. So.
How much of that is your business, bringing back some of those vintage bikes? Is that a small portion of what you do?
maybe 75%.
Wow, so it's
Yeah.
it's a big portion.
Yeah,
then.
it's a big portion.
What
big
were
portion.
some of the last of those traditional vintage projects that you worked on? Do you remember any of them offhand?
I just did a Taco 22 that I fully restored, kind of custom and modified a few things on it. And I actually shipped it out to a guy, Gary, out in Wisconsin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I shipped it out to Wisconsin.
Funny how their appreciation and interest level and need to have is so expanded and exaggerated out there in those places, because they're more likely to find 4 brand new Arctic cats in a barn.
Yeah.
Remember those?
Yep.
Rather than find 4 fucking tacos. Like the chance of them finding a taco in Wisconsin is like finding a really good taco to eat in Wisconsin. It's unlikely, right?
Exactly, man. Taco is a California bike, and to find a taco in Detroit or Wisconsin or something like that, man, it's like searching for a needle in a haystack.
Let's talk about Detroit, because I'm going back there. I got to be careful of that, because I can't talk too much shit. They may kick my ass when I go over there. But I was thoroughly impressed with the video that Myron sent. I don't know if you had a chance, either one of you, to see it. Myron Bailey's a cool Detroit mini biker that's a friend of a lot of the guys that are all your friends as well.
Yeah.
Do you know Myron at all?
Yeah, I've spoken to him a few
Good.
times on
Yeah,
Facebook.
I bet you have. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm his friend on Facebook, and I've only been a friend with him for a little while, but he's a crazy guy. And he had a video of his guys rolling out in Detroit. And they were in like a tunnel,
All right.
and they started off, wow, 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 and it didn't fucking stop. They were wow, wow, 10 after 10 after, must have been hundreds of bikes just on the street. They're all helmeted up, like they wore their gloves, they had the face protectors on. They're not helmeted. There's no horns, there's no directionals, but they allow them to go in a pack, a swarm. I guess an army. When it's over 100 bikes, it's a fucking army.
Yeah.
Right? Ain't a couple of dudes, and they were on the streets. They're doing mini bikes like we're talking about over here. We got to fight for a back, storage road on a Sunday. These guys, this is like Saturday night.
Yeah,
These guys are riding
evening,
bike.
man.
Could you imagine if they still did that shit out here? So you do a little bit of that because you can get away with it, and that's where we left at the break.
Yeah, we ride like
At
that
AV.
in Lancaster. Like I said, you can ride in any direction for about 2 hours, man, and not even see a cop car or a car, man. Just open road, and most of the roads are freshly paved.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we camp out in the desert, and man, we ride out in a pack of maybe 20 or 30.
Do you have a chase truck?
Yeah, we have a truck
Great.
that follows. In
Nice.
Case,
So that's how, because we were talking about that.
Yeah.
So for those of you who unfortunately may not live in California that are listening to us, and those of you who may live in California but haven't been out to the AV, first of all, it's open, and it's dirty in terms of it's not blacktop. It's gravel. It's dirt. It's sand. You're in the
Kinda like
desert.
my house.
Yeah, like Ed's house. Like
Except I don't live in
Well,
the inside of your house.
Some roads are paved, and some roads are gravel and dirt.
But you're in the foothills of the mountains, right? When you can start to get that way from where you are.
Yeah, you can eventually.
But you're in a dusty. We're like in we're 2 gunslingers walking down the road, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of
yeah.
that dusty the
Wild, Wild
cactus.
West.
All right, so D, who is an LA guy, and he's in the heart of LA. And we all talk about riding and realize that we're not doing it here. It's just not going to happen, Shawn.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Maybe a couple of us like right now can fire that bike up, and we got like 5 minutes in us.
Yeah.
And then the guy's gonna come over, we're gonna try to take it, or hopefully he's gonna be as old as us and he's gonna like it and just tell us to put it away, but you're gonna get caught in a minute.
Yeah.
You can ride at a place where you can ride till you run out of gas.
Man, and no one bothers me.
And not just you, but you can ride with you and 5 other guys without.
Man, 10, 15.
What if it went to 50 or 100?
Hey, man, let's ride.
All right, so that's what D's trying to do. D's been scouting out joints. I don't know necessarily where he's talking, but it's in that. Let's just say it's in the same neighborhood. And you and I still get Lancaster and fucking Palmdale confused, and it's Lancaster.
Yeah.
But that whole area, it seems to be our only outlet to go. And if you were to do it, would you just organize it and wing it, or do you feel that the environment there and the climate is right now open enough that if we put on our Saturday worst and brushed our teeth, and we don't have to comb our hair anymore,
Bring a helmet.
but we went to the police and said, look, We want to take a little ride. Would you give them a heads up and let them know that you wanted to do this?
It's actually
Is it-
an
is it-
unincorporated area in between LA County and Kern County where they don't care what you do because no one patrols that area. And that's actually off of Challenger Way and say maybe Avenue E. And like I said, you can ride in any direction for about 2 hours and not even see a car at all.
Okay, so if we were to get a group of guys, what they would want to do is not only have the ability to ride open, they're not interested in necessarily drag racing, but you're going to have a huge contingent, 40-50% that want to drag race. And then you're going to have the remaining 50% are at least going to want to ride a little bit.
Man,
Either where as far as they want or just putt around. So everybody's going to want to be in an active in-motion mode. What about setting up a little area with not a quarter of a mile like we watched some shit? Those quarter mile drag races that were going on for a long time.
Yeah, I like 8th mile myself.
So when
Man,
we set
but
up an eighth,
they have 3 or 4 mile stretches that are freshly paved, man, with no car activity
All
at
right,
all.
so
So,
that's
if you want to come out and drag race,
we're gonna do that
you
there.
Can come out and drag race.
so we're going to get a big oval in the middle of this unincorporated area between LA and Kern County. Oh, look at it. It's all set up for us. This is going to be our world, our 100 bike world. Over here, that's our stage. That's also our barbecue. That's also where we welcome
Set up
them.
tents.
This is called like the entertainment hub, information hub. Over here is our little drag racing area. Okay, over here, this is gonna be open riding. Over here is the pits. In the middle is a fucking fire, a bonfire. And there's gonna be a little bit of music, and it's gonna be
There better be a lot of music.
it's a 2-night deal. You're gonna get there Friday after work, and we're gonna have a nice little deal. We're gonna have a bonfire. We're gonna have a little intro at the stage. You ain't riding shit. I don't even want to hear that bike. We don't want to hear nothing that first night. Saturday morning, you go through tech for everything. You don't go nowhere. You ain't riding. You ain't putting around. You're not on you're not drag racing unless you go through tech. Tech's gonna be simple. You better be able to have brakes. Check out a couple things. Make sure, we're going to give you tech like you're our brother. We want you to be safe out there. Oh, by the way, next to the drag racing area, I got with a couple friends. One of them sent us some tools. The other one gave us a couple compressors. The other guy can build a bike with his eyes closed. I got a little mini bike repair tent for you. So that if your cable breaks or you need something, we got you. And that's sponsored by the good friends over at. So look, we do it right. Can we do this?
Man, we could do it.
All right.
Pull it off, no problem.
So we pull that off. Now you're the guy who owns the bike. You're not me and you, because we're the promoters now. Now we got to pay for all this shit. You ready to put your money where your mouth is?
Man, I'll put up.
Okay. So Dee's ready to put his money where his mouth was. Now you're Emmanuel. Emmanuel's just building a bike. Emmanuel's an enthusiast. He don't know what he's gonna buy. See, he's got the fever. Look at him. He's shaking already. He's probably looking at that little caricature of the bike he's building now, right? Probably looking at it now. He's our guy that we gotta attract now. I don't know if we really want all those guys who were down there Sunday. I don't know if they want to spend the night. I don't know if they have the financial means. I don't know if they have
All you can do is put it out there and see who shows up.
It's the first 100 to do a kind of like a deal where
1 through 100, and you have to pre-register.
What's it worth to somebody to go now? I'm going to feed you. I'm going to make sure the porta potties are there. We're going to pay for the electricity. You're going to have access to a little place to use the restroom. I got to get insurance. I got to get some security. Got to have a little chain link fence. Hey, there's going to be a little need for an electrician when the sound don't work. We got some expenses here. Oh, by the way, there's water. We brought all that shit in. Oh, there's a barbecue. Somebody had to pay for the hot dog buns. You're going to be there for 2 nights with us. You're going to have all this fun. Oh, you're going to have a chance to win a pipe and a bike. And when you come, Joe's going to give you all kinds of shit. CRC.
$50, $75,
$50,
$100.
man.
I don't know.
So
a lot of guys don't want to pay a lot of money.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
But I think $50, that'd be cool.
All right, so $50, right? So $50 times 100, you got $5,000, right? If there's no hard expenses, you're at least going to wash it. You know, and this is not about making money, right? This is about us just trying to get
Just
something
having
together,
fun,
right?
yeah.
When we ask the guy to,
you still got to pay for.
we don't need a
food, you gotta
band.
pay
We just
for-
hope that one of these 100 guys know how to play a guitar,
Yeah, exactly.
right? We don't need a chef. One of us is going to just burn a hot dog.
Yeah.
Just tell
So-
one of them bring a guitar or something.
And here's the other thing too. I think we have to sign a release. And truly, and even when you sign these, like you signed a release. Where is it? This thing? Like it's just you and it's just me. But if it's like something happens now and somebody gets hurt on a mini bike and a finger's off, it's like these things don't mean shit.
Yeah.
But there's we have to have that spirit where. And that's what ultimately keeps me up at night is inheriting that liability, Shawn, because you got all those beautiful kids, especially that daughter that you love.
Yeah, man.
And you don't need them knocking at your door.
Shout
Look-
out to Shawnee.
Yeah, well, you don't want trying to take Shawnee's mini bikes because we're trying to have a good time and we're the promoters.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
So keep all that in mind, and you're out there locally, and I told Dee that we would not only be still curious about how he was progressing, and he had gone out there and did some site reviews. That's what he had mentioned when I talked to him yesterday, and I told him that you would be on, and I never really thought we'd be talking as much about that, but I do think that that's our area.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I do think that if you're like a local conduit, we can almost plug in a little bit through you. Maybe Dee needs to hook up with Shawn,
Yeah.
and you guys need to maybe compare
Show 'em-
notes.
Show them all the areas.
Yeah, and
that'll work.
and this is really Dee's deal. At some point, I wanted to hop off the Joe show and jump on the Shawn show or jump on the D show
All right.
and just bring a little something to it.
Man.
So I'm down for that, and I'd be open to put my efforts and my marketing and Ed's wallet.
Man, maybe we can race for a hot spot mini bike. Hey.
Well, there's all that, and I think that's where the beauty of it is that we get a chance to promote our brands.
Man, most definitely.
Whether you're selling bikes and Ed's doing custom work, and we all have a little bit of that. Out-of-state customers. We're spoiled out here,
Yeah.
and we get to. It's like, I want a Bonanza. Oh, here, watch, Ed. Yeah, guy wants a Bonanza.
No
Which one do you want?
problem. Which one?
Hey, we need a taco. Oh, we need a taco. Hey, hey, Mac. Yeah, dude, you got 22. It's like, he's got 6 of them. What color do you want? So we get to do that. Other guys, man, once you go past, what's that?
Arizona, man.
Yeah, right?
It gets dry.
Yeah. And I notice Arizona and Vegas, you don't see as many bikes in the mini bike Craigslist postings, but California, they're still there. Those poor bastards back there, how are they finding you? So they're finding you social media?
Man, social media. Hot
Yeah.
spot is, man, you can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, and those are my 2 main outlets. I sell everything on Hotspot. I mean, Instagram and Facebook.
When they're shopping, you talk to these guys, obviously, because it's not like they're just buying a part off the shelf.
No.
So when you're talking to them, you have to get a sense of like where they're riding their bikes, right?
Yeah.
So are these guys riding their bikes like out there, like I'm envisioning some grassy field in Kentucky, or are they riding them? Are they racing them? What are they doing with these guys that are buying the hot spot bikes?
Man, most of them are racing on the back old country roads, French Road in Detroit. And like I said, I just sold a bike to Kenny Simon up in Long Island, New York. He's riding his, pro stock mini bike on an old country road, and man, I guess if there's an open stretch of highway, that's where they're riding them.
Yeah, that's the advantage, Ed. The advantage that they have. It's funny how nature balances shit off.
Yeah.
The guys that have access to all the bikes on the West Coast, what's our challenge?
Man,
Finding a place to ride.
Man.
The guys who got all the place in the world to ride, what's their challenge?
They need a mini
man,
bike.
they need a mini bike. Supply and demand.
It's funny how that shit works. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Man, exactly.
Huh? So there you go with the hot spot.
Man, exactly.
So I've captured a few old vintage Clinton 4-horse. Got the original tank under there, Shawn, the matching red tank.
All right.
Got a couple other little engines just popping around. There'd be a time where I'd automatically take one out, replace it, and then sell that one, or, give it away to someone who I think may need it just to get it out of here so I can have room for another mini bike. Now it's like you have to hoard them up.
Yeah.
You got to keep them.
Man, that stuff is disappearing fast, man.
So are you constantly on the prowl? Are you looking for these?
Man, I'm constantly on Craigslist. I'm constantly on eBay. Man,
It's
I'm
hard to do all that,
Man,
being on Instagram and Craigslist and doing work and trying to get something done and trying to be with family.
man,
It's
I
like
probably
there's
get
not
about
enough.
2 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
Man, you know, I'm on the internet
It's-
all night long, and
You ever notice though, even when like, you know, Aunt Sandy's not gonna make it. Just got the phone call. It's like, oh shit, man. But before you even go give Aunt Sandy a couple prayers, like you're on fucking Craigslist, man. Detroit Craigslist, mini bikes by owner. You know, even in the worst of times in your regular life, isn't it funny how you still find time to go in there and search for mini bikes on
hitting
fucking
Pomona,
Craigslist?
hitting Vet Stadium.
See, now that's
man.
when my daughter brought this up. She had been going to the Rose Bowl,
Yeah,
which is Rose Bowl is like for collectibles. You know, our Rose Bowl is Pomona.
antiques.
Yeah, for more of that stuff. I hadn't been in a while. I went to Long Beach. In fact, Long Beach wasn't too far from where we were on Sunday.
right.
And I liked the time or two I went down there. They seemed to be mini bike friendly, and they also had all the old school Schwinn Stingray bikes. I liked that, but the prices were high.
Yeah.
They were like Detroit high. You ever try to buy like a shitty Bonanza off of Craigslist in Detroit? They try to sell for like $1,500.
Yeah,
Or they're
exactly.
into those Rutmans too, where they sell these ugly ass Rutmans. They're trying to sell them for $1,400 with a little 3
Well,
horse.
maybe they could sell it to someone in Detroit for that much, but they can't sell it to us because we know.
Well,
we
no
can
one from
find one
California
cheaper.
looking to buy a Detroit bike,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But they want the California bikes, though.
but they don't want to pay for them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's just an economic thing. I think
Plus
we.
shipping and handling.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to
Shipping
ask you about. I'm glad you brought that up.
kills you.
I'm glad you brought that up. And in fact, thank you. So these out-of-state guys who don't have the bikes, just got the place to ride them, they call you up, they find you, Kenny Simon, our guy on the East Coast, or whoever it is, you know, whoever else it may be out there. Kenny, here's the deal. You know, we go mild to wild over here. You want to lay down $800? I'll send you something in a box. You want to give me a couple? You want to multiply that by 2 or 3?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go run as fast as your motorcycle buddies. It's $2,500. We'll meet you somewhere in the middle. Great. Okay, check this out. I also got to build this fucking box that's like bigger than I had to put my hand in. It's like, you know, and I got to ship it. So you got like another what, $300-400?
Man, I think it costs around $540.
Bam! How do you handle that shit right out of the beginning?
Man.
What do you hit him in the face with that?
Man, like,
Very carefully. You sneak up on it.
No, it's
yeah, I mean,
because then you get this.
the cost of the cost of the bike, man. I had to sneak it in like a quick little rabbit punch, and then, man, I mean,
But some dude's been working his body. That rabbit punch ain't gonna do shit.
man, exactly.
Because
man.
you're gonna get this from that guy.
And then the shipping and handling was a straight blow to the
Hey,
chin,
here's
man.
because Emmanuel, like he's more of our customer, right? Emmanuel's gonna call you, he's gonna hook you up, and here's what he's gonna get. All right, $2,500. Okay, he's gonna drop one of these in on you. That includes shipping, right?
No.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's it. He's hoping, but no. Well, and they still buy them, right?
I still buy them.
Who do you use to ship them? Because I love UPS.
Man, I hate UPS.
So let's go to that break. Hey, thanks for watching. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast number 10. So you're not a UPS fan? Did something happen?
Man, I used
Some of the best laid fucking plans, I'll tell you.
UPS to ship a bike, man. It's like, man, they kicked the damn thing from California all to Wisconsin, man. But FedEx, man, FedEx was great, man. They were on time, fast. The price was great. Like, man, no worries, man.
So I went to a party on Friday. No, was it Friday night? Friday or Saturday night, Mikey's party. And I saw a good friend of his who is in the TV world. He's an actor. And he's more on fighting for the actors' rights and their hiring policies and all that stuff, the behind-the-scenes stuff. And he had some special packaging that was going back and forth with some items in there that were stolen. And the FedEx driver, they got him all on fucking camera, and he's like mocking the signature, like literally stealing products, and it was bizarre to hear that anybody from FedEx or UPS would falsify like the signature and keep the shit. So I'm sure there's some strange shit that goes on with all of them. Traditionally, though, we've been very lucky and we've shipped a lot of shit.
Yeah.
All these bikes that we've been lucky enough to build for these companies, we sent them. I've used an independent company. You ship it.
You ship.
All right.
You know, maybe that's an option for you.
Man.
You know, maybe you ship it because they're independent guys,
Man.
and it's all based on social media likes. You know, like here's the deal: you can get pissed off at UPS, and they're going to be quadzillionaires still.
Yeah.
Somewhere down the line, we're just another guy shipping a box. But when it's a mini bike, when it's a mini bike, you know, where it's not just like a box, you know, maybe that you ship it could be an option for you, Shawn, and may be able to keep you a little bit happier and keep some of your customers saving some money.
Man, I'll
Check those guys out.
Yeah, most definitely.
So what did you think about?
If you're shipping a frame and some wheels or something, but when you're shipping a restored bike,
Yeah.
you got to
Exactly.
pack that thing up.
I don't know if you
good.
saw. You may have seen the fiber lock bike, right? When we were finally bolting it down,
Bolting
and we
it
were like,
down,
we're
yeah.
putting the eye bolts in there, and we're strapping it in, and then you're still saying like a prayer.
Yeah,
Because you know the
exactly.
deal. It's an independent
Now,
guy.
once it
Exactly,
leaves your
man.
hands,
Oh, he's got other stuff on there, too.
you ain't got
Yeah, I mean, I
nothing else
took
to
pictures
say.
of the
Yeah.
thing, what it looked like, but that's not how it got there.
Yeah.
You know.
So, thank you for rolling out tonight.
Man, I
Finally, the air
appreciate you
conditioner's starting to
guys.
kick in. It's only 3 hours later, but
Yeah.
it's dark out now. We started this little deal off. It was light out. I appreciate you rolling over.
Man, appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah,
man.
continued success with the hotspot.
Man, thank you, appreciate you.
Because you're keeping the mini bike scene alive out in the AV, and you've paid your dues. You've got the experience. You know, you've been out there enough where you know the deal, and you're in a position to guide people, give them a break, help them out. So you're more than just a guy building mini bikes out there. You're kind of like you're influencing folks out there, and that's a good thing that you're doing out there. Keep that up, Shawn.
Man, appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Hope you had a good time. What'd you think of the podcast? You all right?
Man, loved it, man, loved it.
So, any final shout outs to any of your key customers, or let your family know that you're going to be. How long does it take you to get home?
About an hour, man.
You're going to drive around that fire? You're going to be all right?
Yeah, I'll be all right, man.
Well, tell them that you love them and you'll see them soon.
Man, shout out to the Reed family. Man, Kenny Simon out in Long Island, New York. Man, appreciate you, brother.
Hey, Kenny, you better get your order in early for next year from the sounds of it, right? Ed, thanks for bringing the bike in.
Yeah, no
I think
problem.
between the three of us, we could lift that damn thing up.
Yeah.
With Temecula Bob, those every time you see one of his frames, and like I love the short ones. You talk about having a tough time getting a hold of somebody or buying
Yeah.
something. So these are very tough to get. Congratulations on you getting yours.
Yeah, Temecula Bob's working Fred pretty hard over there.
Yeah, he's
Poor
he's
Fred,
living
man.
he's living subconsciously through that. I'm trying to ask that doll to build a bike for me, but that's all good. And who knows, maybe even have a chance to see Temecula Bob roll out to Joe's Minibike Reunion on October the 1st. Hey, I've got a car picking me up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which is like 4 or 5 hours from now. Thanks for those of you who are watching it on Facebook Live. Thanks for all your efforts over there. Congratulations on the promotion there. We talked a little bit about our friends from Happier Camper. I actually had a chance while I was out there with my camper at Malibu this past week. I saw a lady who rented a Happier Camper who was with her daughter. And it was so easy that even that lady and her daughter were able to tow that thing around. They did a deal where they bought 5 days, and they got, the sixth one for free. And it was $100 a night. So she spent $500 for a week going up and down, PCH, Ocean View every night. Her and her daughter, probably unbelievable time. She said it was effortless. She had a great time. It's happiercamper.com. And again, I want to thank all my sponsors for being a part of not only the podcast, but also the upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion on October the 1st, held in beautiful La Crescenta. Register online, joesminibikereunion.com. Check out more information and bullshit on our Facebook page. Thanks for watching. We got through episode number 10. We'll see you next time with Kevin from Steady Garage talking about the Honda Grom scene and some. This is Joe from Joe's Minibike Reunion. Thanks for watching.
Joe's Minibike Show.